Hey, hi. Welcome everyone to Adantis's podcast series. I'm Kevin Joseph. I lead growth marketing here, and today we'll be talking about a pretty foundational concept, which is MRO data management in your ERP systems, uh, and specifically how the right strategy for this can help streamline maintenance, procurement, and production operations. Uh, Joining me today is our resident head of operations and general manager, Mr. Anbarasu Reddy. Anbu has been with this organization for several years now, and he has been the driving force to transform Verdantis from a service-based organization to a largely SaaS-based organization. And in his role, he's overseen several. He's worn many hats. He's a bit of a jack of all trades, and he's been overseeing product development, service delivery, even human resources, and even growth efforts to quite an extent. Um, Anbu, thanks so much for taking time and thank you so much for joining in. Uh,
Thanks, Kevin. Uh, First of all, thank you for the introduction, and thank you for this opportunity to be to making me part of this webinar. I'm sure the topic of ERP MRO data. I will try to add as much as value as possible.
Absolutely. Among other things, Anbu, over the last few months, has been pioneering our agentic AI development across master data management. And today, in this topic, I will be moderating the session and he will be taking up a lot of these questions and walking us through how enterprises tackle some of these challenges, what sort of software solutions can be used. So, Anbu, without much ado, we'll get cracking. I'll just set some context. There's been a lot of talk in the last few years, especially in the light of your S4 HANA migration, Oracle ERP upgrades, etc. So, ERP data management is a very hot topic, and especially for operations, maintenance, and procurement teams. So, why is that, Anbu? Why is there a sudden uptick in interest for such services?
So, Kevin, great question to start off with. I'm sure you might have heard about this phrase, "garbage in, garbage out." And that is exactly what is happening in the ERP world, right? So there's a lot of garbage data that is in the system in ERP and for many lot of organizations,
Mhm.
and that garbage data will eventually lead to a decision which will be garbage. So
Right.
I think in ERP world, in today's context, there's a lot of inaccurate ERP data that is affecting right from your sourcing the right part to tracking the inventory to scheduling a maintenance, anything and everything. I think bad data is impacting all. So if I have to give you a few examples, so in today's environment, if you look at it, um, you know you cannot have a downtime, you cannot have delay, you cannot have maverick spend, right? And these are just too costly for the organizations. And companies are starting to realize the value of having a clean and consistent data, which also is uh, which also has the needs of getting governed in their ERP landscape.
Yeah, no, I find it very ironic actually that companies pour millions and millions of dollars into their ERP, EAM systems to upgrade them, to introduce automations into their processes, but they ignore the beating heart of what makes this possible, which is the underlying data. And it's pretty often that we ourselves come across several companies that struggle with incomplete, inconsistent, and missing data, and also duplications of a lot of data entries. Uh, in your experience, what has been the consequence of these data quality concerns?
Okay, so let me start off with a layman example. Okay, now assume that you are admitted to a very high tech, I mean, a high tech hospital where you're getting treated for something, right? Now, the hospital might have all the systems and machineries in place to do a successful surgery. Uh, but think of this, you are getting into a surgery, and the reports that you have is an 8-month-old report. Now, will your doctor be successful in getting you operated? No, right? Because if the data that he has is stale, how can he proceed with the surgery? He will not have the right context in place, right? It is exactly the same for the ERP. Now, what's happened is, ERP, the focus whenever it comes to ERP, the focus has always been on, how the system configuration has to be. What are the processes that we need to align, right? Uh, so the what organizations have done is they've treated data cleanup as one-time effort rather than embedding it to, a governance-driven lifecycle approach. So what's happening is, uh, in the ERP, your legacy records, which is full of incomplete specifications, inconsistent formats, unmapped fields, and duplicates, get loaded. Okay, and believe me, it doesn't stop there, because once you upload this data into the ERP, what happens is, over the years, people start, you know putting information onto that data again and again and again without having any right rules, right taxonomies, right validations. And what it does is, it creates a lot of misinformation in the data. And you can't blame the people, right? Because they look at it and they have their own interpretation. So what happens is, some of the critical attributes, like, who's the manufacturer, what are the dimensions, what is the specific naming convention that somebody should use, are we cross referencing it with any specific entries which are already existing in the system, okay? And so those all gets missed, right? And what is the eventual outcome of that? A system which is flooded with free text entries, inconsistent units, and unclassified data, right? Now, all of this stems from what? All of this stems from a lack of clean, governed, and unstandardized all of this stems from lack of clean, governed, and standardized data, and not from lack of investment, so to say.
So, so you've explained how data quality erodes over time, and we get these requests often from enterprise accounts who look to correct their data quality. But there's a misnomer at large that this is just done for ERP sanity, data sanity, compliance, etc. But there are actual tangible reasons as to why this data quality needs to be corrected, right? Why it directly affects maintenance operations, right?
Of course. So, Kevin, let me start off with a simple example, right? So, let's talk about work orders. Now, if the
Mhm.
part which is li- if a part that is listed in the BOM isn't clear,
Mhm.
or if it lacks, right specifications, okay, what will eventually happen is, the technician or the engineer who's working on it will waste a lot of time in cross-checking, validating, or improving that information, right? Which is all a manual activity. uh, but when you have accurate data and standardized data, all these things gets expedited, right? So your work order gets executed faster. There is no downtime. Your engineer becomes, certainly a lot productive than what he used to be, because he doesn't do that manual work, right? So yes, I mean, if I have to, uh, put it in a nutshell, that what a good MRO data does. A good MRO data in today's world, in today's ERP world, is not just a nice to have, but that's what will keep a well-oiled machine running, up and
I
running.
see. I see. And zooming in specifically into maintenance operations, how exactly do these solutions help reduce production downtime and improve maintenance operations?
Okay, great. Let's take the previous example, right? The work order scenario. If a
Mhm.
part is listed, has the right uh, description, okay,
Mhm.
or if it is outdated specs, if it doesn't have a right description or outdated specs, what happens is, technician wastes time in figuring out what to use, right? Now, but with the clean data, with the parts getting clearly identified as, what category it belongs to, what is the unit basic code, or what are the right specification for this, whether it is, does it have the right uh, order quantity, okay, is it aligned with the right bill of materials, okay? What it does is, it helps you reduce the average time to repair. It helps you avoid emergency orders, and it improves the overall reliability, right? It eliminates the friction from the system. Uh, that's how I'll put it.
I see. And this, when done at an enterprise level across multiple plants, the efficiency gains would be really huge, right? Not just on a single piece of equipment. Uh, On this same,
Definitely.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, on the same note, there's been a lot of talk about MRO life cycle data management, right? It seems to be a concept that has been in existence for some time, but we've been hearing a lot of it recently. Can you shed a little bit of light on this?
Yeah, I think MRO lifecycle has been ages, but I think uh, it has become a buzzword in the last few years. So, you
Yeah.
know, if I have to put it in a simple terms, I think it starts with the planning. Okay, so first and foremost step is getting the data structure right, setting up the materials and bombs correct. Okay, and then the
Mhm.
eventual steps are, uh, how it flows through the procurement, storage, how it goes through the usage during the maintenance, and finally, have we identified the right obsolescence or disposal? Okay, so the stages that I just spoke about, now each stage is interconnected. Okay, and if your data, the data that you work day in day out is not well managed, at one stage or the other, it'll throw everything else off. Okay, that's why, as I repeatedly I'm telling, the consistent governed data management is critical for the success of any manufacturing or any production right from day one.
That's great. So, switching from operations a little bit more towards production management. How does exactly clear and clean and also complete MRO data help with production workflows? With help with manufacturing efficiency per se.
Okay, again, great question. So Kevin, I think if you talk about production, the few things that comes to our mind is, is your production running on timing and precision, right? So production, if you ask me, it always runs on timing and precision. And there,
Mhm.
clean ERP data ensures that your bill of materials and your spare part inventory are accurate, and it has all the right information that is necessary for a technician to a check the spare part specification. If there is a repair that needs to be happening, does it have the right reordering quantity? So all this information, if it stored in a right level, what it does is it prevents stockouts. Okay, it reduces your excess inventory and thereby helping organizations look more profitable. Okay, and it's like a well-oiled machine that keeps moving seamlessly. Okay, so clean data gives you that visibility and control which every plant manager today needs.
I see. I see. There was one theme that kept popping up in the surveys that we've done, right? Especially
Mhm.
with procurement folks and folks who are specifically in master data. One recurring contention point was that, hey, you know what? We've cleaned our data. There was a lot of it, and they themselves admit to the data quality being on the poorer side. But the recurring theme is, hey, we've cleaned our data. Why is that not enough, right? Uh, can you share a little bit more light on why this needs to be a continuous process?
Okay, so let me again, take a layman example, right? So you are admitted in a hospital for, something, okay, and you get discharged, and doctor has advised you to follow certain things, right? Now,
Right.
does following that will keep you healthy all the time? No, right? I think you need to follow a healthy lifestyle to keep your body healthy and in perfect shape, right? So and that's the same thing that happens to any data aspect or any data cleansing initiative. Okay, uh, I think it's not a one-time cleansing. It's one-time cleansing doesn't mean that you do your job and everything will run seamlessly over the period of time. No, it doesn't. Right. What you need to do is, once you clean the data, that's a first step towards running everything like a well-oiled machine. But what you also need to do is, because there are various touch points that will enter the data once you clean the data, what you need to do is you need to ensure that all the rules and all the validations that you have incorporated in the data cleansing are followed on a day-to-day basis during your ongoing production times. Okay, and that's why it is very critical that you have the right data governance policies and data governance systems in place. Okay, and if you have right without data governance, it will just make your system once again like what it was few years back. Okay, it'll make it cluttered again, and you'll have the same challenges that you saw before the data cleansing initiative.
I see.
That's why I've been consistently saying this, that uh, a proper data governance should be a continuous discipline and not just one-off task. So cleansing and data governance go hand in hand, and every organization should have that done on a priority basis today.
That's a great metaphor, and it's a great pitch for non-believers in data governance. I had one quick question though. This is something that has to be software assisted, right? Because I don't know, is it possible to have governance systems set in place that's largely manual and human driven, or does it have to be software based? What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so again, great question, Kevin. I think so. See, anything that has a manual intervention can always go wrong, and the permutations are endless, right?
Right.
That's why it is. I would uh, I would, and all the leaders around the world have always suggested that we need to have proper systems in place. Okay, and I've been very lucky to see that kind of product or systems built out within our organization. And in the last few years, I had a chance to work with some of the great AI engineers within Vodantis, and a great product managers within Vodantis, who have created a world-class AI products, AI agents, which is going to be the core part of any solution for MRO lifecycle. Okay, and I can give you some examples, right? So we had Harmonize. Now Harmonize is now split into a lot of AI agents. So there is AutoSpec, AI AutoSpec, which helps you fill in the right technical information using your input description, and thereby reducing the ambiguity that used to happen in your work orders and in your procurement lifecycle. Take an example of Auto Enrich AI. Auto Enrich AI is another AI agent that I don't think any organization in the world offers now. We are the first to come out with it, and Auto Enrich AI leverages your manufacturer name and part number. It'll go to the web, search for the right and the missing information that is missing in the spare part, and it will populate those missing information to make your information complete to the level of a golden record. And auto translate AI. Now we all have seen, how translation becomes a cumbersome task, especially when you have to translate regional language into English, and from English to again regional language, right? But with auto translate AI, we have made a task which used to take months and months and months now happens in few weeks. Okay, with a greater level of accuracy. Then there is something called as autoclass, which helps you classify and identify the right category for any spare part, and also outline the right data sheet for the spare part. Not only that, I think there are various other AI agents that we have been building, and I'm very lucky to have a AI team which has been working out of the box in creating those. Uh, some of the AI agents that I can speak about is DocuAI, where by just reading the uh, a drawing or reading invoice, I think it can pull in all this information, which was quite a task, even through the OCR scanning methodologies, right? But docu AI has a potential to read even a difficult drawing with all the legends spread out. It identifies all the right information for you without any manual intervention. Then there is something called as synchronize, which which is work in progress, and which we are working to build a AI agent for managing the vendor master data, right from identifying the duplicate vendors to filling in the information about the vendor, validating the bank accounts, everything, anything and everything with regards to the vendors can be done synchronized. And then there's something called as coherent, which helps to manage the equipment master, right? So equipment management becomes seamless with coherent. And these are just the beginning, right? Our team, the team of AI engineers and the product managers, are As we speak, rolling out a few AI agents, and there are many more agents that we are designed to manage the end-to-end MRO data management lifecycle, which will help the organizations to achieve continuous data excellence without any manual intervention.
I see. So the way I'm understanding this, this will be several agentic microservices that will be offered independently.
Absolutely.
I'm just for each of these use cases within MRO data management. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. How does this fit in the fold of integrity? I know integrity is our flagship product for data governance and data management as far as MRO is concerned. So how does this fit in? What's the big picture with integrity coming in?
Right. So think of integrity as a command center, right? So for any ERP MRO data governance, it's a command center. So it connects to your ERP, whether it is SAP, Oracle, Maximo, even for that matter, MDG or any ERP, and applies all these AI rules in real time or scheduled batches. I would, if you had to put it in, one sentence, I think it's where AI meets policy enforcement. You define the rules, and the system enforces them every time a new data is entered or updated.
I see. I see. That's interesting. And this goes outside of maintenance operations as well, right? How exactly does this empower procurement teams and production teams? Uh, this good quality data, this corrected data, how does it empower their operations?
Right. So, Kevin, as I explained earlier, right, uh, be it your procurement or your production, I think your clean data or having a right data governance and data cleansing and data governance systems um, in place. What it does is it gives more power to your procurement and production. Okay, and your production and procurement doesn't become reactive; it becomes more strategic, right? So if I have to take an example, you reduce maverick spend, you ensure better vendor negotiations, you have a streamlined process for sourcing, and in production, right, it ensures right availability of inventory whenever it is needed. Okay, you eliminate stockouts, you eliminate redundant purchases, and you can have a very strong just-in-time strategies. Okay, and thereby helping you get things faster, and your systems, and you'll be more confident. Your technicians will be more confident when it comes to running the productions.
I see. All right. My next question, it has to do with what I mentioned initially, right? This is a time when we are seeing a lot of uptick and a lot of interest from companies who are looking to correct their uh, underlying ERP data, especially given the backdrop of your HANA migration. I know the older versions will be sunsetted within a few years. So most of the questions that we have around this is, we have folks who are believers in AI, folks who are non-believers in AI. Many of them really want to see some practical applications, right? For companies that are looking to initiate their journey with clean data, what are a couple of best practices in your experience that you think will help them set the precedent right and go about this in a
Okay,
strategic approach?
all right. First of all, I think a very important aspect is, you know, organizations should start treating data as a strategic asset, right? It, if you have to, if I have to, so what I mean by strategic asset, I would say that it should have the right owners, it should have the right KPIs, just like what you do for your equipment or inventory. Okay, and
Mhm.
everything need to be outlined strategically for the data. Okay. Secondly, I would suggest start with a pilot phase, focus on one plant or one region or one category, sorry, and scale from there. That gives you a confidence in what you're doing, right? So once you start with a pilot phase, you will have a better buy-in with your management, and thereby you can once you get the buy-in from the management, it is easier for you to roll out for the rest of the plants.
I
And the
see.
most important aspect I would suggest is embracing uh, AI agents, right? Agentic AI. So, uh, gone are days, where you're just relying on one SaaS-based platforms, or even for that matter, you're relying on manual data governance. Gone are those days. Now, I think we are in the world of AI agents, and AI agents will help uh, get these things uh, accomplished faster and in a more accurate way. And also, this will have real time support and intelligent decision making.
I see. So to summarize, use modern technologies like AI to make sure these workflows are carried out autonomously. And secondly, pilot the project from a functional standpoint, because this is more about longer term operational excellence than just cleaning your data
Yeah.
quality. I see. That's very interesting. Let's assume uh, I'm a CIO or a CEO of a large enterprise, right? And I'm representing a company that's smack in the middle of this transformation journey. What are a few things that should be in my radar? A few pitfalls that I need to watch out for, just for our audience here, so they're more equipped to deal with such challenges.
Okay. So thinking loud, I think what I would suggest is don't think data just as an asset. I mean, it is a backbone for your operational success. Okay, without right data in the system, I think you're just having a fancy system in place which will not yield anything. Okay, but with the right data, it gives you that backbone uh, to the system whereby you can have a better governed production and procurement environment. Uh, so, if you ask me in one sentence, if I have to summarize it, without structured, governed ERP, MR data, even the best systems can fail. So, I think having the right system and the right data in place becomes, very critical to the success of any organization.
Right. That's amazing, Anbu. Very insightful, and I'm sure this was a lot of value for the audience. I know we're coming up on time now. We're on the 27th minute, so we have a few minutes to take some audience questions. Uh, so I will
Mhm.
welcome all our attendees to submit any questions, if any. We're hearing all the developments straight from the horse's mouth. So this is your chance. We just give it a couple of minutes.
Sure. I think I've addressed all the questions upfront. Let's say there's some
Yes.
questions.
We just give it a couple of minutes left. Uh, yep, doesn't look like we have any more questions. We just give it one more minute.
Sure, no problem. We do have another 3 minutes to go, so we can wait.
Yep. Okay, we have one question from Vishal. What kind of learning or intelligence are these autonomous agents using?
So
Uh,
I think that's a great question, Vishal. So what our AI engineers, our brilliant AI engineers have done is, I think they have ensured that all the data learnings that it processes, it learns by itself, and it makes sure that those learnings are then transformed into the actions. Um, so if you ask me in a nutshell, these AI agents are self-learning AI agents. You don't need any manual intervention to feed them any kind of learning. They will learn themselves and they start incorporating in every you know every next step that they do. So it's not a static one. It's an evolving one, and that too a self-learning evolving agents. I hope I answered that question.
you did, and we are about time. That I know Komal has another question, but we'll take that one offline. Once again, I'd like to thank all our participants for tuning in, and thanks a lot, Anbu, for taking the time. I know things can get scheduled, especially with what you have on your plate. But this was great, and looking forward to seeing all of our attendees on our next episode, which is a couple of weeks from now.
It's my pleasure, Kevin. Thank you for inviting me. Bye bye.
Thank you.